Mine grows in mysterious ways, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Mine did too. Then I hit puberty. You'll be there.
I can't wait for my balls to drop.
We are the people of Mercury. I am your interplanetary host, Travis Montgomery. These views reflect one planet and one planet alone.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mercury's Cast. I'm Travis Montgomery. Today I'm joined by Darren Holiday and Ryan Flannery. But first, before we go anywhere, please go to iTunes and subscribe to Mercury's Cast. It's on iTunes and Stitcher. Hit the subscribe button. That would mean a lot to me. Or go to Facebook and like the page Mercury's Cast, or Twitter and like that one Mercury's Cast. It helps us, spread our wings a little further out than they might normally if you help us out. And maybe one day we could hit a broader scale. But anyways, shout out to the listeners in France and Ireland. And what was the other country over there? I think I'm forgetting about you. But there's a couple loyal listeners, I think, over there. And that just tickles my funny bone. It just fancies my little heart. I don't know why people over there, a couple of you are listening, but that makes me feel a little warm inside. Let's welcome back to the program Mr. Constitution himself, Darren. How are you doing, buddy?
Excellent, man. I got a mouthful of food right now.
That's all right. That's about par for the course, and we'll let you finish your meal. Welcome back, Ryan Flannery. How are you doing on this lovely Baltimore evening?
I'm doing good, everybody. Thanks for having me.
We are going to be triangulating with Tim here in a little bit. So I guess what is going on with me right now? I'm still at the job. Me and the wife had our family actually had a kind of an unfortunate event happen last week where, my wife was pregnant and now she's not so pregnant anymore. And it was, it was a tough time. We got through it. The creator questions and stuff like that kind of naturally took its route, and kind of makes you appreciate stuff that you do have and stuff that did go right, rather than focusing too much on the stuff that went wrong. I got a good job. I have a lot of things to be grateful for, but it's still kind of tough to go through something like that. So you kind of puts things into perspective, Hey, I don't think anyone really has it easy. No one makes it out without any kind of pain or suffering. Am I right? So
correct. Nature's way is nature's way, buddy.
Yep. We're still young. I'm 33. She's 40. No, I'm just kidding. She's 30. She's only 2 years older than me. I like to tease her and tell her that I like older women. She's like only 2 years older than me.
You're pushing it, man. You're almost over the hill.
What do you mean? I'm over the hill. That is rude. I'm just kidding. Anyone, Darren, I see you posting some cool pictures. Did you just went on something last week, didn't you? You went somewhere cool.
I've been up like the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't even remember. It's been so damn hectic.
All right, the sunset picture with the Jeep. Where was that at?
The sunset or sunrise? That was at Superstition.
Hold on. Is there a way to tell? Is there a way to tell if you're looking at a picture whether it's a sunset or a sunrise? I think. No, you can't. It's all purples and blues and oranges and shit, right?
Generally, you get a lot more pinks and purples out of a sunset. The sunrise, you get a lot more just straight yellows and oranges.
Well, I'll be god darned.
Well, if you got a normal day, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. But when you have clouds in the afternoon, you can tell the difference big time.
And smog.
There wasn't no smog where I was at.
Believe it or not, smog has a lot to do with the colors of the sunset and sunrise, I believe. Maybe I'm talking straight out of my ass, or maybe just halfway.
I bet it does in some way.
because the light's reflecting off of the gas in the air, and that's how light color is differentiated, anyways. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was out at Superstition Mountain, which is south of Truck Haven, which is about 20 miles north of, well, let's go 40 miles southeast of Salton Sea, and about 20 miles north of Mexico border. Costa Mexicali.
Have you ever been to the Salton Sea?
Yeah.
No fucking.
Several times. Go out there probably about 2 or 3 times a year.
That's cool.
So the Salton Sea is a crazy place because, like, in the 60s and I think the 50s, it was a booming area for people to go and travel, and people moved there. And then something happened with the water where it made all the fish die, and it turned everything shitty. Oh my god,
Salt?
this fucking You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Take that thing out to pasture, man. Bullet right between the eyes. Done. Problem solved.
This fucking rescue. I think it's because it's a puppy.
You just cut off its ears.
I can cut off its ears, and then I'll be on Facebook forever. I'll be a legend. But no, anyways, the Salton Sea, and then everyone left. But then some people like stayed. I don't know. You've been there. Well, what did you see when you went there?
Well,
Did it smell?
no. No snow out there. They get a lot of flash. Well, not a lot, but when it rains out there, they get the flash floods that drain down there. A lot of salt content in the dirt or sand or whatever you want to call it. Makes it hard for fish and stuff like that to survive. I think there's a couple of certain fish in there that do survive, but most of them ain't nothing worth eating, and it's just like a lot of brine shrimp, stuff like that.
Ooh.
As far as the town, when I go down there, it's I just go in and out and hit the gas stations, man. I got a Jeep, so I got to hit the damn gas stations and fill that son of a bitch up. But there's a couple of houses along the lake shore. I mean, I'd say about a small, very small city like
just some crazies.
Adelanto. You know where Adelanto is?
Nuh-uh.
Adelanto's up to 395 and the 15 right here. That's that first town as you go north. It's about that big. I couldn't say there's more than like 2,000 people. Not real big at all. They just kind of scatter around the lake, and then there's no work out there. It's just
the crazies. Yeah, they just live.
The work.
Anyways, I think there was a good Vice on it. I think there was an Anthony Bourdain, one of his shows on it. Go check it out.
I don't even know who that is.
What the hell was he cooking out there?
I don't know. It's just my weird brain that thinks that might have happened. Ryan, this is your second time back. First time we went a little deep, and that was all right. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it just kind of the course took its way, and now we're back to talk. Now that we know you, and we're back to talk about some stuff. Right? How did you feel about the conversation? Did you think? I mean, I don't know what was going to happen, but we did go a little deep there.
It's all good with me. I've always been pretty open with, I guess, how I fucked up in the past. You know what I mean? Because when I got out of prison, you run into people that you went to school with or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, man, what you been up to?" It's like, "Oh, fucking prison." So there's really nothing much else you can tell them. I mean, what am I going to tell them? Like I was working or something or some bullshit. So
I took a couple year vacation. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I took my whole 20s, for a vacation.
Backpacking in Europe for a little while.
Yeah. So I mean, there was really no way around it in conversations, at least in my eyes. So I've just always been open about it.
Well, and here we are today, back again. Yeah. We're going to talk about how Donald Trump's a racist. Hillary Clinton has gone into hiding. She is now a monk Buddhist monk in Taiwan. and Bernie Sanders is the raging fire war horse for the Democratic Party. No, we're not going to talk about any of that. We actually do have some stuff to talk about. That was completely political satire, which some people seem to confuse. Barry Sanders. Did you hear? No, we gotta save that one for next week. I'm sorry.
What's that?
So now, hold on. Let's go into a segment of the show that we are introducing. It's going to be here for a while. That's called Tech Talk. We like science. We like the new technology and stuff that's going to make our life easier moving forward. And just some really cool stuff that.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you there.
It's
supposed to make our lives easier.
So, well, and the word easier is has a very wide margin, probably.
Sure.
Okay, so Falcon 9, SpaceX. You have heard me talk about Elon Musk and SpaceX before. We had a great episode about the mission to Mars. I wish I had that on the top of my head. I don't. In the title, the first thing it says is we're going to Mars. So refer back to that for some more tech talk if you want. Falcon 9 just landed last Saturday. So the cool thing about what Elon Musk and SpaceX are doing with their rockets right now is that they're making them reusable. So normal rockets, when they go up into outer space, they break apart. They just go on and, they fade off into the ether, the eternity, or whatever it is. What he's doing is he's actually bringing these rockets back to sell, and not all of them. Of course, we bring the humans back in their pod, but what he's doing, he's recycling these rockets. And normally, what happens is these rockets fade, into the fucking emptiness. It hasn't really gone perfect for them. They did have a rocket explode last year in Florida in September, and I think they said, all right, we're getting the fuck out of Florida, and they went somewhere else. The other interesting aspect about what Elon Musk is doing, I'm sorry, did you have something to throw in there?
They're over the ocean now.
They're what?
They're over the ocean now. They're landing on platforms over the ocean.
Right.
So it's not around people.
Yep, that's a good thing. So there's no more human lives involved. So they landed on a platform in the ocean, and there's some Periscope video out there. Go check that out if you have a chance, if you're interested at all. But I think another interesting thing about this is that this is a privately, even though a lot. He's not exactly privately funded because some of the contracts that he get are government, but it's not from a government agency.
Bullshit. You get $6 billion.
From who? From
the government, which is my money.
From what agency?
All kinds. I could tell you here. Shit.
I mean,
give me a minute. I'll tell you exactly what it is. I know I got $6 billion off the top of my head because I remember looking it up the other day.
Yeah, something like
but
that.
It's still a private company. It's not a government. It's not a government organization where this is happening.
Well, neither is NASA, supposedly, right?
Yeah, and I think they're completely government, aren't they?
I thought that they said. I can't remember. But
yeah, he's taking money for Tesla.
Well, the Tesla thing has to do with ties in with the energy crisis. So they have
no fucking crisis.
Well, have you ever been involved in a brownout, sir?
Yeah, right. I just find that whole energy thing to be a
hoax,
walking pit of.
You know what? I agree with you. Go look up something called Title 24. And look up the requirements for that because that's what I fucking deal with every day. And then get back to me. Title 24.
Yeah. Well,
it's the most they're making devices that run your lights at an 80% margin. So to prolong the lifespan of the light, and they have this thing called an inverter that when you're and everything's LED now, so that saves costs right off the bat. Which everything costs more now because LED apparently costs more money. I don't know. It seems a lot more lighter weight to me when I have to install these fixtures. These LED fixtures are a third of the weight of what I'm used to installing, but apparently they cost more.
Well, I mean, either last year or the year before, I mean, this is to put the whole energy bullshit crisis to rest. A couple young girls in Africa in some, hut made a generator that runs off of piss. So, I mean, shit can be done. It's just they're just not releasing it to us. I mean, we had free energy over 100 years ago. Since then, I mean, people want us to believe that we haven't made any leaps and bounds in that stuff. In that area, it's just complete bullshit.
I do remember that story. And I will agree that, just like the Westinghouse battle with, power back in the day, Edison versus Tesla, AC versus DC types of electricity. Even William Randolph Hearst, in keeping his paper rather opposed to the hemp paper, and that's why they made hemp illegal back in the 30s because of William Randolph Hearst, claimed that marijuana was this crazy evil drug. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be, and in the oil industry is a perfect fucking example of that. I mean, how could it not be? We have technology to run, we have trucks that run off of natural gas, and here's another perfect example is that you put too many solar panels on your house and you're going to be fined for it. You can no longer put energy back into the system through your solar panel.
Yeah.
And you have to they clip you. Like, why would they clip you? Why is this a problem for anyone or anybody?
Yep.
To save money. So all right.
It's just to keep us all.
The energy crisis is a little.
It's all hogwash, man.
So the Tesla.
It's just to keep us.
I actually want a Tesla.
Yeah, it would be nice to have something like that.
Hey, I got nothing wrong with that stuff, man. Nothing wrong with it if you do it in a capitalistic manner, but when you try and force it by government, that's a problem. I got no problem with somebody going out and making a Prius and then offering up a product that says, hey, man, I get good gas mileage. I think it's good on the environment, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to buy it? Sure, great. I'll buy it. But to give me some rebate from the government for his incentive to do that shit or any of that? No, that's a bunch of crap. They're trying to force it upon you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sorry, I'm just reading and going off and chiming in, but I'll just.
No, it's cool. Well, anyways, the Falcon 9, which they probably have some government funding. I feel like, and since the last budget or whatever was taken down, they're not into space exploration, which I think we should be spending money in that. You can disagree with if you want. I think rocketry. There's a good joke that Neil deGrasse Tyson says is that he's like somebody send a memo to China saying that there's oil on Mars and they'll be there next week. It's just a matter of funding.
They can't beat us. Funding and tech. They can't. Nobody can beat us in stealing people's oil, man. Shit, we got that on lockdown.
I know, but there's no one there on Mars yet, so it's all there.
The Dyson. Is that guy that's on TV that does Cosmos?
Yeah.
Oh. I listen to his podcast all the time. He's good. I like him.
I'm sorry.
He's good. I don't know what you have against him, but
he hasn't read a scientific paper since he got out of his school and hasn't done anything with science at all except for get on a show and tell people on a TV show what the writers tell him to say?
Excuse me, sir. You should listen to Star Talk. He has one of the most popular podcasts where he talks every single week on
That's
the fly
fine.
answers fans' questions.
Whether it's popular or not doesn't mean if he actually reads the paperwork he's talking about.
Right. Well, what scientific paperwork or scientific theories or anything has he been involved with since he got out of school?
He's an astrophysicist. Go look him up. There's
Cool. He went to school.
There's actually, all right, look him up. Him and Stephen Colbert sat down, all right, on stage at a high school or a college auditorium or whatever, and they just talked. They answered questions.
So what's you guys know the other guy that's kind of on the same level as Neil deGrasse Tyson? What's the Chinese guy? I'm just saying he's Chinese because he's Asian looking. You know what I'm talking about, right? The long gray hair.
Yeah,
He speaks.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got the. Oh man, if I said that, it would.
I can't
be all racist on this thing. Some freaking snowflake will freak out. Oh my god!
If we just call him some random Asian guy, we can't really.
Well, the Asian.
I know who you're talking about.
I think he's on a much higher level than Neil deGrasse Tyson because
he's like
just for the simple fact that when he talks about implementing this stuff, he talks about he's against big oil and how it fucks our planet up. He's against Monsanto and he actually explains scientifically how it's killing us and killing the trees and killing corn and our food supply. I mean, that guy actually applies his scientific knowledge in a logical way to be beneficial to us. I mean, someone that's just sitting there talking about stars and some other theory bullshit really doesn't help humanity at all.
I kind of thought the same thing about him until I actually heard him talk for a while. I challenge you guys to go listen to Star Talk. Go listen to Star Talk.
I've listened to a lot of what he says, but I mean, on the other hand,
go listen to his own show that's in the 7th season. There's a reason that he's in New York at the Hayden Planetarium, still doing shows.
There's a lot of things that
it's not because he has writers or that people are thinking for him. I can guarantee you that.
I'm not saying that, but I think if you go deeper down the rabbit hole, you could probably find some of that on a higher level.
I know he went to go get a doctorate, and he wasn't good enough to get the doctorate he was after, so he went down and downgraded, got his little freaking whatever degree he got, and hasn't done anything outside of college since, other than be on TV shows. And that's what I know.
And hosts 7 seasons of
I see him
most popular science podcast.
I see him basically as just a mouthpiece. I mean, he doesn't talk about solutions too often. I have heard him.
Yes, he does.
Lightly.
You need to listen to him. Now it's foolish because he actually does present solutions to some of these problems, which I don't know exactly what you're referring to.
Does he talk about scientists in the energy field? Talking about how it's one of the.
He's an astrophysicist.
I understand that. So he should know about.
You gotta look up at the stars. That's where his specialty is.
To get all this knowledge, I mean, we need massive amounts of energy to get all this information that they're talking about to do their experiments or whatever. I mean, he should have a little bit of knowledge on when scientists being killed off in the energy section when they find new energy sources that are free and clean. I mean, that's what I want to astrophysicists to talk about, or smart people, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, we can all talk about the stars until our faces are blue and how we can possibly time travel or whatever, but that's not helping us out right now as human beings. Really, that's how I see it.
Well, I'm interested in, at whatever he's talking about when it has to do with.
I'm not saying it's not interesting stuff. It just gets boring.
They have Bill Nye on there too. He's pretty good.
There's another one of them. What the fuck? this guy. He puts on a funny suit and acts like a jackass, and all of a sudden he's this fucking regarded scientist. He ain't done shit either.
Well, you haven't listened to him talk then, apparently.
I used to like
I'm
his...
talking about scientists, dude. I'm going to go talk to Stephen Hawking, dude, and push the buttons and listen to that funny-ass noise.
No, fuck that guy.
That guy's the shit. He's actually
I used to watch Bill Nye growing up.
So he's going to tell us about the, gravity waves and black holes, and we're really going to change the human species because he understands black holes better than other people. All right.
I guess, man.
Good luck with that one. That's what Stephen Hawking is known for.
Well, Stephen Hawking is known for, if we do make alien contact, they're probably going to kill us because we're fucking assholes. That's what he says too.
You can flip a coin and come up with that fucking observation. Hold on, they're gonna kill us. They're gonna be friendly. Let's flip it. Boom. Oh damn, they're gonna kill us. Oh darn, there goes humans. I mean, I don't know. It's I think that's enough tech talk for one day. Thanks for coming aboard. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, right. Here's one of the sentences I'm reading about him. Tyson, who liberals love because they are racist, who can't believe a black guy could be smart enough to be a scientist and so spontaneously ejaculate and soil themselves every time they see him on TV, hasn't published anything of note for years.
Except for the most popular podcast for 7 seasons in a row.
Yeah, hey, I ain't saying the guy isn't entertaining or anything like that. I'm just talking about his scientific discoveries or success is zero. That's all.
I would just go off of personal knowledge that I listen to the guy talk a lot, and I feel like he has a lot to say. Whether he has writers or not, the information that I'm getting from him I found pretty interesting. So, and I still find
here's something pretty weird. So they say that we've been to the moon and we're going to go to Mars and everything like that. But 2 sentences later, NASA or Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever the hell his name is, or Bill Nye, says that humans can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. So what does all that mean? Well, if we can't, as human beings, we can't get past a certain part of our atmosphere because it'll just burn us up instantly. Even when we're in spaceships or whatever we're in. How do we get to the moon?
That's something that they do talk about, the amount of radiation that is in space. And that is something that's brought up.
I mean, there's an area.
It's a challenge.
Well, it's an area that humans can't even exist, even inside spaceships or wherever they're surrounded, cocoon-wise. I mean, that's what they say.
Are
NASA
you sure
said
about that? Are you positive about that?
NASA has said it live in a live broadcast before.
So between here and the moon, there's no way that a human can exist.
There's a Van Allen radiation belt. And
well, do you is that radiation belt consistent through all 365 days of the year, or is there times where you can go through it and there's times where you can't?
That's a good question.
I don't know either. I think that there is. Some of the radiation, the radiation does malfunction the small controls in the spaceships too. So it's not just a human factor that we're thinking about. It's also some of the little controls that it'll fuck with. So if you're going to go that far, then
I mean, I'm just going off of what has come out of their mouths. They said no human beings can pass through this shit, or it'll burn them up instantly. So how do we get through it? I mean,
you know what?
That's what I'm asking.
Let's save that
next week.
For next week, we'll talk about the Kuiper Belt. We'll talk about radiation, and then SpaceX. I think this is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That's cute, Darren, the Breitbart, Neil deGrasse Tyson, but it's like Breitbart has an agenda, just like NBC has an agenda.
Anything mainstream has an agenda.
Yeah, I don't like.
Would dropping a fact that he couldn't cut it at Texas to get his doctorate, and he got kicked out for academics to where he had to go elsewhere because he was running around playing in bands and all that? Would that?
You know what I was doing when I was in my early 20s? I was fucking off. So
right,
I don't care.
But you're not a scientist. Scientists don't fuck off. They're freaking. They're freaking nerds, dude.
I am better than Neil. I'm better than Neil.
Dude, scientists are a group of people that are just full on freaking nerds. They don't, they were freaking trying to figure out the Pythagorean theorem at freaking age 5.
Hey, we're gonna get there. All right.
Yeah, I'm down. I could try and figure it out, but in the end, I can guarantee I'm just gonna say fuck this shit and take off in my Jeep somewhere.
Fuck this dumb shit. All right, so do you guys know that there's a president being inaugurated tomorrow?
No.
You guys are so crazy about Neil deGrasse Tyson. I say his name one time and everyone loses their shit. You guys are like liberals for after Trump. That's what the guy. You guys just did the same thing.
I mean, I'm not for Trump. I'm not for any president, really. I'm not.
Yeah, did I say that? I said that wrong.
I'm not. Bye-bye, Obama. Let's bring the next klutz to fuck us up. You know what I mean? That's how I see it.
Sure.
It's actually.
Yeah.
We are literally insane thinking things are going to change by doing the same exact thing over and over again. Yeah.
Well, hold on now. A lot of people would argue that electing Donald Trump is not doing the same thing over again because he's not a lifelong politician, and he actually might run the country like a business, and it's not going to be the same old thing that you see all the time.
But humans aren't a business, you know what I mean? We need to get away from treating us as a business, like healthy food.
We're the economy. We're the part of the economy. I mean, we are the economy.
The fractional banking system, that is an illegal, unconstitutional business that someone like Trump thrives in. People like that thrive in that slave system. I mean, he is the man for the job for that shit. But I mean, when it comes to real issues, that actually would make a difference. He's just another talking head to me.
How about backing the military?
Back in the military for what reasons?
Just to have a president back the American and back the American military and just be happy about it instead of attacking them all the time. I
mean, it depends on what we're supporting our military for.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just go to another kill more innocent people in fake wars and terrorists that our actual government is funding to have our friends and brothers and sisters die, our soldiers, die for actual terrorists that we fund. I tell everybody don't join the military. I mean, because it's all a facade. It's all a lie. I mean, we're not fighting for freedoms anymore. You can barely protest nowadays without getting shot by the police or getting your head cracked open like an egg. I mean, our freedoms are eroding every single day, and people don't even know it's happening. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be fighting for, freedoms, right? I mean, but we're losing them every single day.
So are you saying people are getting shot for no reason?
Fuck yeah. How about all the people protesting at the DPL? It's not the DPL. At the pipeline. I mean, I watch them live feeds every day, and they're still shooting those people in the faces with rubber bullets and shit, man. When they're on their knees, when they're on their knees praying, like it's happening today. Like there was a big raid supposed to happen from the cops. They were going to go in and tear all the fucking tents down and stuff. I mean, that's not freedom. That's just corporate backed bullshit with our tax dollars. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that.
What site are you? Where are you seeing this at?
I mean, there's just live people that I follow with live feeds from the protest. They have an actual missile launcher. They have there's one of those mobile Humvee rocket launcher things, man, set up facing the protesters. Like, why do they have a missile launcher there, man? And it's not just one missile; it's like dozens of missiles in this thing.
So we have missile launchers and people getting shot in the face with rubber bullets, and CNN and Fox News and none of these people have got a hold of this.
Fuck no. They don't talk about that. None of them do. Ever. The only time they did that one time was when that lady from Democracy Now! Got arrested. What was her name? I don't even know her name. But they locked her up, and they knew they fucked up, and the judge dropped charges on her, but not the other 200 protesters they locked up that day. Because she was a reporter, they dropped charges. But nobody reports them, and they actually have drones now flying over the people protesting. It actually cuts their live feeds off from their phones. Like, it disrupts their phone service. It's just crazy to me that that's even happening.
Did you hear that some of those not some of the protesters, but the people of their tribe were offered money for the oil pipeline, and they refused the money, but they also counter-offered for more money. And the reason that some say that they are so militant about this is because they didn't get their money for it.
No,
did you read anything like that?
I'm sure it's because what's going on in that part of America is you can take a whole third section of the middle of America, just cut into thirds and take the middle section. That's the biggest freshwater aquifer on this planet. The Bushes actually bought up a lot of land, thousands of acres in that area. Nobody wants any type of huge pipeline running through that type of aquifer. I mean, if there was one spill, it's the whole thing's done. I mean, there are spills here and there, a couple thousand barrels or whatever, gallons from pipelines on a daily basis. They usually flow straight into rivers. But I mean, if something on the scale of what they're trying to put in busted underneath of that river or inside of that aquifer, that freshwater aquifer, I mean, it would be disastrous. We wouldn't have too much fresh water left. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, I've never heard anything about them refusing money and wanting more money and anything like that. I mean, I might have missed it. Who knows? That could possibly happen, but I don't think that it would happen.
So they're worried about a hypothetical.
It's not hypothetical. I mean, there's oil lines busting every day, man.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the whole energy thing we were talking about earlier briefly.
Well, yeah, we don't really need oil, but the crazy thing about transporting oil is it's much more dangerous to do it via tanker, and it's much more dangerous to do it via waterline. You saw what happened with BP.
Yeah.
And train is more dangerous than having an underground pipeline too, because that's a rolling ball of. Gee, I thought I plugged this Tim.
Did you serve in the military, buddy?
Negative. Tried to.
Yeah, so did I, actually. They wouldn't take me.
Yeah, I went when I was 30, and they were trying really, really hard to weed me out because of my age. And they weeded me out. Fuckers.
Who weeded you out?
Military.
Ah.
I was too old. They found a way. Bunch of crap.
Maybe they thought you'd be too obedient.
Yeah, I don't think that was it.
Too non-obedient.
I think they figured I was 30 years old and not as easily manipulated as a lot of these 18-year-olds.
No, so going back to that point you brought up with ways of transporting oil, Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We brought it up briefly an hour ago, however long ago. I mean, Tesla was producing and sending free energy through the air over 100 years ago. Like,
yes, well,
we don't need oil. I mean, it was
perfect technology, but
it was perfected, man.
There.
That's why it was fucking torn down and out of sight as soon as he did it. I mean, it's just the slaves. It just goes back to the slave system. I mean, it's just, what would they do what would these assholes do if they just couldn't take all our fucking money through taxes and fucking oil and electricity and all this other stuff? I mean, we would be much better off because we could actually live our lives and enjoy our family more and our friends and, do things we love to do instead of just slave every day and give our money away,
That's part of life. If we don't work, then what happens?
Yeah, with this system, we'd be on the streets.
There wouldn't be any streets if we didn't work. It'd be a big pile of dust and dirt. Nobody would build it. It'd be all torn up and gone. They don't appear by themselves.
There was streets. There's still streets back from the Incas and the Aztecs. I mean, there's no potholes in them. They're stronger than our streets. I mean, when people want to do things, naturally, me personally, I don't like sitting around doing nothing. I mean, if we just were taught differently other than the system that we're in now, I don't see anything being wrong with it. I mean, I don't see people just sitting around getting fat and lazy. I see people actually building better, bigger, greater things for humanity and everybody working to achieve that. I mean,
right, and that's one of the major differences between Trump and Obama. Trump's not 100% free market capitalist as I'd like him to be, but he's definitely loves this country and understands what freedom and liberty is.
I was reading into exopolitics today.
Exopolitics? What's that?
Yeah, it's actually the think politics on Earth, but it's politics for space and alien beings and time travel, and it's the laws of all that bullshit.
The weird shit.
Totally agree. Totally. Just kidding.
How was it, man? You feel better?
Oh my God, I drink a half gallon of water at work every day. And in the summer, I drink a gallon.
Easy.
Yeah. All right.
I think Tim got a bad
another
connection.
Reason to hate the state of North Carolina. Another reason to hate the state of North Carolina. That's what I'd do.
I like Canada.
They got them
over there don't even have proper Wi-Fi and shit.
Yeah, but they got 52 bathrooms for 43 different pronouns.
Yeah, right.
And a damn who. Should we try again or should we just stay on it? I'm going to have to edit a lot of this out anyways.
My father. My dad, he was always outgoing. He was with me, and he was always there for me whenever I needed him.
Let me see what he says.
He says, my shit ain't working.
All right, fuck it. So, we brought up the inauguration, and then we kind of dovetailed onto some other thing.
The inauguration. Well,
all right, Ryan, just give it to us. What do you think about Trump? Do you think there's any chance that he's going to do anything good for America, or is it just another Obama? With a different kind of mouthpiece.
The thing that I like that he's doing so far, I mean, the list isn't long, trust me, is he brought in Robert Kennedy Jr., Kennedy for the oversee the vaccines, which is what we need. And
yep. Mm-hmm.
And he's calling out the fake news for being fake news, which is awesome. I mean, everybody's like running around with their panties in a bunch here. But for the next standing president, someone holding that position, to call them out on their bullshit, as fake as they are, because they do fake news every fucking day, I think it's glorious. Those two things right now.
You're a flaming pile of garbage. You're a flaming pile of garbage.
Those two things are actually more than, just those two things alone are more than the last 10 presidents have done, period, that have been anything meaningful or that will actually change our daily lives in a good way. I see it. That's what I think.
But so
it's a good change up. It's a good change of pace so far.
I mean, not just recently. Give us. Do you think he's going to be good? I mean, I don't have the answer to that either yet. I think it's going to be different.
I mean,
the different levels of different.
Unless we have a standing president that's going to this is what Ron Paul was going to do, dismantle illegal, unconstitutional Federal Reserve and the illegal, unconstitutional IRS. I mean, when I see a president do something like that, then we're cooking with peanut oil.
All right, the problem.
But they'll be dead. You know what I mean? They'll be
other than probably being assassinated.
But
the problem with ending the Fed is that you send America into like a 10-year rebuilding period.
But it doesn't matter, man. Like, it has to happen. I mean, Iceland did it. Iceland kicked out the fucking banks. They locked up all the bankers.
I got a toddler right now. I ain't trying to go into a 10-year rebuilding period. To be honest with you.
What are your kids going to do? They're just going to live off of more debt. Like, we're seriously we're not just like in $19 trillion debt. We're like $300 trillion debt. The numbers that they push to us through the fake CNN and fake Fox and all that shit, those numbers are lowball numbers, man. Like, we're like,
they just create money out of thin air anyway, so they can just
exactly.
So there's $200 trillion in debt of unfunded liability.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's mostly owed to China too,
which is promised money that we don't have.
Yes, exactly. And if we can just print, here's how simple and fucked up the system is. If we can just print money for banks so they're okay and they're whole and things can stay fine, why can't they just fucking print money for Joe the plumber when he can't fucking pay his electric bill? Why does he have to be kicked out on the fucking street? This is the system I'm talking about here. It's just so fake and meaningless. But on the other hand, it's the real deal, because if you don't comply with this system, the slave system, you're going to be out of the streets. And then you know what? They have laws now where people will get arrested for feeding you if you're homeless, or they're going to take your blanket away because you can't have blankets in some areas. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened here in America. Yes. Like, there's new laws being made up every day, man, to punish the weak and the desperate, man. Like,
I know exactly what you're trying to say. I'm going to try and let me see here. Basically, what you're trying to say is the 80,000 laws they write every year is too much, and it's eventually going to bury the people, which they have been.
Oh yeah, man, we're already there.
And the confusion I see with Trump is it's a whole different night and day ball game between the two, because you have one side, which is the liberals, and unfortunately the liberal talking piece and puppet is Obama, and I think he's a little bit beyond liberal. I think he's a Marxist, but I won't get into that detail.
Well, a little too far, maybe.
Yeah, well,
we can talk about
and their slave system is what you're talking about
after this.
These laws and all this printing money and all this stuff you're talking about, like, say, Obamacare, for instance, where you are now mandated to pay for that. I understand what you're saying with the whole slave thing. They make you dependent, which makes you keep coming back to the government, which is in exchange for votes. And that's the big thing that I see the difference with Trump, because Trump loves America. He's not going to be perfect. I can guarantee that. There's a lot of stuff that he said he's going to do. I don't think he can probably do, but there's a lot of stuff that I think he can. If he goes out and does a quarter of what he promised, this country's going to change tenfold. He cuts our taxes. He removes that mandate on Obamacare. He starts cutting out all these executive orders with all this freaking huge drain on our health system and all that stuff. He'll start cutting all that. It puts more money in our pockets, and that whole slave mentality.
Our system is so fake. We cannot afford to deport these people that just want to live on this planet. We can't afford to deport
not the
human
planet,
beings.
this country, our country.
Well, you know what? It's all imaginary lines that we're following here. I mean, the only brick wall is, the ones that assholes are trying to build. But what I'm saying is with immigration, our system is so fake. If they took their tax dollars, which they contribute, I think it's like 3 or 4 trillion just in the shit that they buy here. I mean, they do send a lot of it home, but they do buy us a lot of shit while they're here. Our system would collapse almost instantly without those trillions of dollars being pumped back into our buy type of economy. You know what I mean? Like, that's
whose money is that?
The Backstreet Boys.
It doesn't matter whose money it is. You're working for it. It's not yours. It's not any of ours, because we're not the one working getting our hands dirty.
It's the United States of America's money.
No, it's actually the Federal Reserve's money. It's not the United States. It's the Federal Reserve's money.
Federal Reserve is the United States.
No, it's not.
They're not coming here. They're not coming here and buying their Wi-Fi with pesos. They're using USDA.
Well, you know what?
US dollars.
Maybe our corporations. Here's another. We can go to it further. Maybe there's people, if we didn't fuck up their country and completely destroy their governments by installing dictators in there, and so they fucking other people just like our corporations are in the United States, they wouldn't need to come up here for a better life. I mean, we can go that step too, because that's what happened. I mean, I just read a book about that. I just finished it, actually. It's called Memoirs of the Economic Hitman. That's not the exact title, but there's actually economic hitmen that work with the CIA and these huge corporate conglomerates that go into other countries. That's what wars are all about. They go in there, if they can't buy these people out to get all their resources, then they just fucking kill them and install a dictator puppet. But that's what the book was about, because he worked in South America for all the 80s and 70s and 80s. That's what he wrote his book about. And that their whole crumbling economy is because we took over their economy and made it a slave system. I mean,
are there government documents that there's proof that this happened, or is this propaganda?
No, it's not propaganda. Like, this is shit that people never hear about, because when people talk about it, they're silenced. This guy was working with these people. They're called EHMs, economic hitmen. It's a real thing called EHMs. They're the first people that go into countries, and the second people behind them is either terrorists that we send in to kill them or to take out the governments or whatever. If they don't cooperate with the EHMs financially and give in, they're dead. Their country's going to be destroyed and taken by force. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. We see it every day. Every day. Every conflict. Every what are you talking about? Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. I mean, every single war that we are in and we are fighting our freedoms for is for fucking the oil companies. And,
can you hear me?
We can hear you now, buddy.
Can you hear us?
I mean, it's
Dude,
not.
Whose Jeep is that?
That is a cool picture.
Can you picture me rolling? Am I clear to you?
I mean, it's not propaganda that we went into Iraq over a fucking lie. You know what I mean? It's not.
We didn't go to
propaganda.
Iraq over a lie.
If you guys,
Yeah, there's no weapons of mass destruction. He had
New
no.
York Times sure came out with it. Matter of
Oh,
fact, they had
Jesus Christ.
was over 100 tons of mustard gas.
That we gave him back in the 80s.
This is
Like
a great
fucking
podcast.
The Russians or something. You know what I mean? Or so he could bomb Iran for us. You know what I mean? Like, those aren't the weapons of mass destruction that we were talking about was shit that they could take out America with. Like, a little bit of mustard
Yellow
gas is nothing. Nothing to this day has been found to prove that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I mean, Saudi Arabia, sure. I mean, we're all the hijackers from Saudi Arabia. But I mean, we're still doing business with those guys. The UN just put them on.
No, not me. I ain't doing business with no Saudi.
Yeah, you are. You're using their oil, man.
I go to Exxon.
Your life revolves around working.
I live in Bakersfield. We produce our own oil out here, son.
I wish we could. I mean, it's not propaganda that America's number one status, or at least what Americans think that we're number one. It's a fallacy, man. We're number one in killing people. That's it. And
I'd say the Saudis do a good job of killing their own people. 47 beheaded last Saturday.
Yes, that was pretty intense.
Am I
Isn't
right?
that strange? And they're the head of the Human Rights Council for the UN. Saudi Arabia is. Like, come on, man. Like, it's
well,
a
no
joke.
wonder Trump calls the UN a joke.
Yeah, I mean,
What did
the
you
UN
say?
is a joke.
Aaron, I'm sure you got the nomenclature.
The UN is just another arm, just like we use ISIS and fucking Al Qaeda, man. Like,
But for a while, the UN was the biggest globally. So there's two things where the world has actually come together on a humanitarian scale. Where we're like, all right, we need to just pool all of our countries' resources together and try and do something for the good of humanity. And we did it two times. One time, it was for the UN. This is the most globally represented thing that's ever done. And then, can you take a guess at what number two is?
or you mean creating the UN?
Just on a global scale, countries getting together for the better of the fucking people of the world.
If that even happens, there would be no war.
Okay, theoretically, the UN was created for the betterment of the people of the world.
No,
you cannot argue that.
That's what they tell us it was created for, but it wasn't. It's an extension of the League of fucking Gentlemen.
Hold on. You're not letting me finish my point. There was another thing that humans have done collectively on a world level. We got together and we created the International Space Station.
There you go.
We all had. There's a lot of countries that had a hand in it, and to go into war. Why don't we pool our resources together? And even if you don't believe that the UN was doing that, and it was created for some other reason, it's still a representation of countries coming together for the betterment of humanity.
No.
Instead of war.
If you look at history, all we got to do is look at real history, not what CNN or Fox or our history books in school teach us, like actual factual history. The United Nations is just another arm of the corporatocracy that runs our countries and the banking system. The World Bank.
The world banks. Yep.
The Federal Reserve System. It's all connected. And like with Libya, they used the UN to put sanctions on them, a no-fly zone, and then they used the UN troops to go in there and invade them. And then we fucking bombed them and helped them kill Gaddafi and all that shit. And it was all because he didn't want to use the petrodollar. Like, that's a fact. It wasn't because he's a bad dude. I mean, he ran his country 10 times better than the United States was run.
Well, the Libyan citizens were very eager to fucking make.
No, they weren't.
Not too sure about how.
Fuck no.
How good was their internet service?
It was
What kind of
probably
cars
better
did
than
they
ours.
drive? How was their food? What kind of restaurants did they have
They
there?
were probably a lot healthier than us, man. I'm telling you, they had free school, they had free everything
Yeah,
because
fuck
he
that.
used.
I wouldn't want to live in Libya.
You guys need to look it up, man. Well, not now because it's fucking rubble. All that area.
Well, here's this great utopian place that has all this free shit that is now rubble. Think about that.
Yeah. Think about it. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Think about it. We used the UN to fucking push sanctions on a country because they did not want to use our petrodollar. Think about it.
They're running around killing each other, dude. They're freaking. Their dictators are cutting their own people's heads off.
No, they aren't. They have not been doing that for decades, man. All this shit just. If people look back in history of fucking Iran before Saudi Arabia and Israel were even established by Britain and the United States, before those countries were established, all those areas were modernized just like the United States, and they were right along with us.
How did Muammar Gaddafi come into power?
Sounds like a loaded question.
You're talking about, yeah.
It is. I'm just wondering how often people, the UN gets other people to kill their own brother to get in power.
Did he kill his own brother?
Yes.
I never read that. I mean, how many people did the Bushes fucking kill to get in office? How many people did fucking Obama kill to get in office? I mean,
well,
the same shit happened.
We're talking about Libya. We're talking about Libya.
But what you guys need to realize is you guys are trying to make other people sound bad for the same shit that we do. We just do it better. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. If you say Bush killed people, who did they kill?
Shit, man.
I can tell you right now, Gaddafi killed his own brothers. Who did Bush kill?
Okay, Prescott Bush, he was running with the fucking Nazis, man. Come on. The Bushes go way back. They were involved with what? JFK? They were involved with all that shit, all the way up. I mean, it just so happened.
So Bush killed JFK.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna
you're putting words in my mouth.
In the ground here.
But what I would like you guys to do is step out of the box and look at the history of all these countries that we've completely fucking destroyed. Like there's this huge wave of immigrants going over to Greece and Europe, and it's these fucking immigrants are destroying Europe now. These fucking assholes. It's because we're fucking destroying their countries.
I wouldn't say that's entirely the United States' fault. Who does not have an effect on every single country in the Middle East?
Who pushes these wars?
They decided these wars. Do you think that the people of Libya weren't ready to fucking kill that dude? They
weren't. That's why we had to invade it, because
created an enemy, and all of a sudden they were just ready to kill and maim his body.
They were not ready to kill and maim. Same thing with Syria. We have CNN and Fox showing us this fake fucking news of this country that hates Syria and Bashar al-Assad. 99% of his country loves him because he treats them well. It's the same thing for all these other countries. What we see in America is completely almost to the point where it's all fabricated just so we all believe that these countries are fucking bad.
Do you believe in false flag shootings?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Oh, wow.
How about gassing their own people? Didn't happen.
Hey, maybe we shouldn't give them gas then. How do you think they got the gas? From us or Britain?
They used it against their own people, and you said that they treated their people well.
Who are you talking about? Be
That's
specific.
not treating them well. That's gassing their own people.
Syria.
You talking about Syria gassing their own people?
Yeah.
That's already well established that was al-Nusra, first of all, and ISIS using that gas. It was not the Syrian government. That is a well-documented fact. Well-documented fact.
No,
when a drama drew red line number 7, that was just bogus?
Exactly. Obama drawing there's 12 red lines. I mean, there was people.
I thought Obama was just a pussy.
He is a pussy. I mean,
because he let him gas those people.
Right.
His foreign policy was pretty weak.
Your tax dollars gas those people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Do you think it's a coincidence that Syria and Iran don't have central banks? All these countries that we've systematically taken out and destroyed in the past 15 years, none of them had central banking system or reserve systems. None of them, and mostly all of them.
Maybe they don't need them. They're on a different economic scale than we are.
Well, no, our country and our reserve corporation that we work with worldwide wanted those people to have those type of banking systems. They basically wanted to use gold because gold has value. Paper doesn't have any value. We all know that. Our dollar is almost to zero value. It's like a 98% lost its value since they took the gold standard away from us. Like, it's just paper. Monopoly money is probably costs more than what we have our laws.
Well, if the shit ever hit the fan, because right now my $100 is still good if I go into 7-Eleven. Thank you very much.
But it's getting us less and less. You know what I mean? Like, we can't buy 100 cartons of milk.
I mean, it is, but $100 is still $100. You can go and eat. You and your buddy can go eat the finest meal in the town for $100 with a little booze, probably. And that's the same thing that was going on 20 years ago. So
I mean, $100 would last you 5 of those meals. 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah, man.
I don't know. I was around 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I was a kid growing up. I mean, a piece of gum was 2 cents, 3 cents. I mean, you can't find a piece of gum that cheap.
Let's go back to some of the so fucking we have an inauguration tomorrow. I don't know how this keeps happening.
I just hope Trump is not.
I don't really care.
I just hope Trump's not assassinated tomorrow. That's what I care about.
Well, you don't sound like a liberal then.
Oh, I'm not a liberal.
I think all the liberals want him to.
I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative either.
I'd lean more towards conservative, but I don't like that title. And I get called a conservative a lot, especially by Mike Pagano, who's our favorite liberal in our circle of communicators.
I hate to break the news to you, but he's a family member of yours. I won't be too hard on him.
Jesus Christ.
I think that guy's a little off his rocker. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
He's out of touch, I think. When you get a certain age, you have your stick in the mud, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, so we have some time left. Obama, our goal, the left golden prince is leaving office tomorrow. And he has done some shit in the past couple weeks where he's going to leave. So let me just run down the list, and I have some of it written down, some of it off the top of my head. He approved a plan for Iran. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I forget. Is it coming from us? No, it's coming from Russia. Iran's going to get a couple of 100 tons of plutonium. Obama, and this is something that happened today, just pardoned or commend sentence of 4 cartel drug lords, pretty much. People that are high up in the cartel, he just commuted their sentences.
Commuted. There you go.
Commuted, and they're going to be out in May. He's what he? So the thing about him is he's
Chelsea Manning.
Chelsea Manning, another one. I don't know how I feel.
He signed
commuted is. Just to clear this up, commuted is not a pardon. It is okay, I think you've served enough time. You're done.
And he also, I just found this out recently, but back in October, he signed over all internet domain rights to the United States, to the UN, the control of the UN.
Really?
I mean,
I forget what it boiled down to. We went to the UN, but there was 2 countries that ultimately ended up having on a committee that had the power between the
China
two.
was one of them.
China was one of them. I forget who the other one was. Either way, it's a stab in the back, fucker.
Yeah.
We need to be in control of that shit in this day and age.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
He's
all
fucking
business,
Barack
man.
Hussein Obama. You think he loves America?
I'm gonna do Jim Gaffigan. Why would he do that?
It's all business, man. Everything revolves around business. Politics is just business.
Of course, and that's why people like us need to get around and start talking about shit, so other people start hearing about it and talking about shit or talking about it, and that's how these things happen. All right, so there's protests going on in New York right now.
Yep. Hold on. I read somewhere.
We can agree on the fact that they should be allowed to protest.
Yep.
Sure.
Right? We can all agree on that.
Yep.
And what they're protesting is there were some Periscope feeds. Periscope is the new social media. People need to become familiar with Periscope, in my opinion, because that is the new blossoming
I've checked it out before.
social media. No, you should become very familiar with it because they have people posting live in Aleppo. They have people posting live in Palestine. They have people posting live at these protests that are going on. So, that kind of brings you right there. If you don't follow someone that's political or just fun, or like my wife makes a living off of Periscope right now because we sell clothes on it and it's very successful. She had over 1,500 people come on Tuesday, or what was it? It was Monday. She sold 50 items of clothing on Periscope.
Damn.
She's good. She's good. She's gonna be my sugar mama someday. She's doing really good in that regard. Props to
man.
shout out to
that.
Anyway, LuLaRoe. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. LuLaRoe. It's fucking super hot right now. It's super duper hot. Anyways,
Can anyone confirm or deny that someone lit themselves on fire today?
they tried to.
I heard something about that the other day. Fine, let them light themselves on fire. Go jump off a building. I don't give a fuck.
Fire. We will make an album cover out of it. Shout out.
Hey,
Machine.
if you want to protest and light yourself on fire, more power to you. If you want to protest and light my shit on fire, fuck you.
And fuck you. Yeah.
That's when we should all be able to bring out the guns.
I think that should be a bumper sticker or something.
Someone baby light on fire.
A fault to a lot of the bleeding hearts out there. I would just like everyone to know that Obama has changed the wet foot, dry foot policy when it comes to people
Cuba.
coming over in rafts. Well, mostly Cuba, yeah. You never know. He could have the one-off from somewhere else. But, yeah, if you would step foot, and I don't know. I just read that somewhere. A lot of this fake news stuff, I don't know what to believe anymore. I just have a tendency to believe everything that I see on Facebook or on the internet. Social is propaganda. It's fucking with me. But That's what I've read.
No, that's a legit one. He did that.
What?
It's the wet foot, dry foot, and what it was designed back in, I believe, the 50s during the whole Cuban crisis. Blah, blah, blah. The immigration with their freaking, because they were getting slaughtered, all that. They still are. And that's why we allowed it for so long, is because it's not like Mexico, where Mexico, their government's fucked up, but they don't run around killing people, where the communist regime of Cuba does, and they're in very dire shape. They're 90 miles from our shore, and the people that escape persecution from there, we welcome them in, because we're saving them. It's not like they're people down south of Mexico, they're trying to come take advantage of us. People from Cuba are actually trying to escape for their lives to survive, and we welcome that.
Well, some people, too, come across the Mexican border, and they walk right in, but they have to cross that desert, and a lot of them die like a really bad death, where they're found like literally like stretching for the next foot. And another part of the problem is, and believe it or not, is that people put water stations in their form, and as a humanitarian, you think that's a good idea, but then it creates this false narrative in their head of the people that are trying to cross, like, yeah, we'll go, there's water stations, there's no wall, and then we just walk right in. If you make it, it's going to be a hard journey, but then there's a lot of people, like, I don't know the number, but I would guess it's 50 to 100 people a year, maybe more than that try and cross through the desert, and they die and they find them, and that's like the worst kind of death you could probably have. Maybe.
I'd be banking on it being more than 100 people a year.
Yeah.
I think that was a conservative. And
So you are conservative.
God damn it! I guess I'm conservative. Just kidding. Yeah. I mean, if you have compassion for the people, make the walls higher and the gates wider. I mean,
or
I want a big ass wall and one door.
I mean, or we can just stop living with imaginary
turnstile.
Imaginary little borders. You know what I mean? Let humanity be humanity.
Well, humanity being humanity is that this is my space and you're not going to cross here, motherfucker. America's humanity.
That's what you're right. That's what it is right now.
You can cross this door all you want as long as I know who you're coming into my house, man. That's it. That's all it boils down to. Come and go as you please, but we better know exactly who you are and what your intentions are. That's it.
So, I mean, why, if Obama was this golden child for the liberals, is he deporting so many people, and now
it's in history.
He just wants his name. And
well, he's deported more than any other president.
But the definition
he is counting people that have been turned away at the borders as deportations. It's a false number.
They changed the definition.
Yes.
To fit the narrative.
Come to the gate. Hey, you're not allowed to be here. Okay, we turn that guy away, so that counts as a deportation. That's how he's counting that shit, and that's how he's producing those numbers.
Well, you guys can't have it both ways. It's either working or it's not. I mean, if he's turning them away at the border, is that doing his job or is it not?
No, that's normal stuff. We turn away turn away all kinds of people at the border every day, whether it's Obama or anybody else. But we never.
I see what you did there.
Those.
I see what you did there. It's, I don't know. He's a weird conundrum to me, and I kind of get arguments that, you know, he was very presidential and you know, Bush couldn't fucking spit a line out to save his own family if he had to. He wasn't a good speaker. Obama came through and he was very presidential. He grabs people by their spirit and he makes them feel good. And I mean, he's very effective at that. Say all you want about the man. When he exited the stage, he made people feel fucking good about themselves.
Not really. I mean, no president that is either elected, you know, through fake votes or whatever the fuck. I mean, how could people? I'm just using like Ron Paul as an example. This dude stood up and had massive crowds surrounding him, supporting him everywhere he went because the dude told the truth. I mean, he was for the little man. He was against taxes, like he was against the IRS, like all the shit that fucking makes us work harder and harder. He was trying to take all this stuff away, make it easy for us. So how can someone like Bush or Obama still rise in the ranks? And it's because the media portrays this narrative of, if they talk about Obama or what they were doing with Hillary, let's just use that as an example. They had Hillary on like 90% of the time and Trump like 10%, or vice versa. You get what I'm saying? The media.
I hate to break it to you, but Obama was a better public speaker than Ron Paul.
But
I like Ron Paul. I like what he says.
I don't care. But that's what should resonate with you. Like, if he's telling you something that is actually fact and something that's going to change your life, like, tangibly, You know, it's all based off of the media.
I know. I
telling
really
us-
believe he was the one. I truly believe that he was the one. If we could have just made people see, he understood what was wrong.
Yeah.
And I think actually the Ron Paul thing kind of rolled over into the Trump thing.
I can see that, yeah.
Halfway, not all the way, but halfway.
Ron Paul actually did win. The Republicans actually broke the law when they did this, because when they have their, national conventions or whatever, and they had the crowd sound off, you know what I mean? He actually had the biggest sound off, and he had the most votes. But the RNC didn't want him as the candidate because he's not good for the corporate bad assholes. And that they totally pushed him to the side illegally. They actually broke the law by doing that. And it was brought up for like a day, but then that was it. I mean, if media doesn't do their job, we're not informed. You know what I mean?
The media does their job only for a couple particular people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's
okay. Anyways, we have to get out of here soon. Let's do a quick who's in, who's out. We're going to be doing this kind of segment on the transitional period of Trump from Barack Obama. And a very popular switch right now is Loretta Lynch and Jeff Sessions. Loretta Lynch, I don't think has a great track record. This is shit. Is this Secretary of State? Secretary of State, right?
Attorney General.
Yeah, she's only been there
Attorney
for a couple
General.
years, right?
All right, my bad.
She's been there 2010 when Holder left.
Darren, let's see. I want to know what you have to think about. You have anything to say about Loretta Lynch?
She's an unconstitutional liberal hack.
She's a fuckbag.
Yes, she is absolutely terrible, and not because she's a Democrat, not because she's a liberal, because she's unconstitutional. Did not follow the oath she took.
Yes.
Ooh.
Straight up. She deliberately went on with Obama's agenda and did not do her job as Attorney General to be against Obama's agenda when he was out of line and for Obama's agenda when he was in line. No matter what he did, she was with it.
Because they're both black? I'm just kidding.
No, I think it has to do with because they're both Marxist liberal hacks and have a greater...
I'm a racist bastard. I'm just a racist bastard. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They have a bigger a different agenda than most people see. And what they believe is America is too rich, America is too greedy, and it must be taken down. And one of the first things they got to do is attack the police, which Loretta Lynch did. She defended Hillary Clinton for breaking those laws. They go after the cops. They created the war on cops, and with a war on cops, you have the breakdown of the civil society. When you have a breakdown of civil society, you have a country that goes nuts, and it goes down a peg.
I think that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty Loretta Lynch legit.
that's pretty close.
I mean, despite politics out of it, she did not defend and uphold the Constitution at all costs in the position she was in.
Ding, ding, ding! I need to have a bell. Bing, 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 bing.
I don't think any of them do. It's nothing new, you know.
Brian, do you have anything to say about Loretta Lynch?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
The only label I'll put on her is she was a horrible human being, just like the rest of them. I mean,
sweet.
It doesn't matter if she was liberal or whatever, but she was just a horrible human being.
Okay, Jeff Sessions.
Another horrible human being.
Everyone loves him, right, Darren?
Out of all the picks, Trump has made him and General Mattis are probably my number one picks.
And what's going to happen? What are we going to see?
He's gonna freaking uphold the Constitution, baby.
Okay, so
Do what?
And what's good about Jeff Sessions is I even see him putting Trump in his freaking place when Trump's out of line, and that's why I like him.
What? That's a special note. But
So-
Obamacare is going to be reevaluated. Let's just put it that way.
for any of these people that are in office and hold these powerful positions, for them to not be unconstitutional, they would literally have to dismantle the Federal Reserve and the IRS. Literally. Because any president or anybody in their cabinet, all the way down to their secretaries, that's fucking treason, man. They are all not upholding the Constitution when they allow these institutions to rape us every day. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I don't know anything in the Constitution that refers to not having banks or anything like that.
But the bank is...
Who's in, who's out? Hold on, let's not bird walk because we're on a topic here. We got to cut it off soon. So
Jeff Sessions is just another...
Loretta Lynch, Jeff Sessions,
just like the rest of them.
We got plenty time. We can do one tomorrow, but we have to cut it off at a certain point. Not just for a listener, but for technology issues as well. So I hate to be the Mr.
What's your question, man? What are you asking us?
Would you rather have sex with Loretta Lynch or Jeff Sessions? That's what it boils down to. Yeah, me too, maybe. I'd definitely wear a condom though with him.
Yeah. All these rumors that are being spread about him.
All right, well, it's about time to wrap it up, and I never do. That's why I have a couple kids. But in closing, I would like to say, on a serious note, let's give a shout out to Martin Luther King. That's what I'm going to do. It was MLK. We got the inauguration of Trump tomorrow. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be
huge.
It's gonna be huge.
It actually really is.
It actually is. It's gonna be pretty big.
Except for the artists that are not gonna perform there, and we didn't have time to talk about that, but we talked about a lot of other stuff, so that's all that matters. But we wanted to talk about what we talked about. And I think we talked about some topics that I felt like we needed to get to. Darren, hold on. I know you got a shout out for Trump. I know you don't like. You said you don't like personal shout outs, but I'm guessing you're going to give a shout out to the president-elect, soon to be President Donald Trump tomorrow.
I will give a shout out to Trump. In hopes, I'll congratulate him, and hopes that he sticks with a quarter of what he says he will try and do. Because, if he tries to do 100%, he ain't going to get 100%. He has a big list, probably not all going to get done. If he gets a quarter of it done, I will be happy. I'm going to give an even bigger shout out to Obama leaving.
You can't. No,
I am more happy with Obama leaving than Trump coming in.
Hold on, can't.
Bye, Felicia.
Shout out.
And I hope when Trump's done with his inauguration speech tomorrow, at the end of his inauguration speech, Trump looks up and says, "Obama, you're fired."
Kick rocks. Oh, you're fired.
That would be nice. It would be nice to see that.
We have to start a hashtag and now.
Yeah.
Obama, you're fired. That is going to be a trending tomorrow.
I'll probably bust one out at lunch. Or I don't know. I listen to the radio all day in my headphones, so when I get reminded of it when it's actually official and he swears in and I hear it, I'll probably do that.
You're fired. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's great.
Yep.
A formal shout out. Let's it could be living, dead, fictional.
I got something good.
Anybody?
Here's my well, it's not inspiration. Shout out to all the pigs that are out there bashing the peaceful protesters and.
That's a shout in. That's a shout in.
Well, shout out to them.
Doing it wrong.
Shout out to them to slow your fucking roll and realize
Oh Lord, we're gonna have to.
Just because something is written by a bureaucrat doesn't mean you have to enforce it.
I have a feeling, this social conversation between us three is just beginning. And this will be Mercury's Cast, episode 37. You guys don't have to hang up, but the broadcast is ending now. Step your game up.
Did you right?